Hello and welcome. Let me introduce you to someone extraordinary. His name is Walter Jenkins. He's 94 years old, lives independently in a cozy home in Northern California, and, get this, he walks faster, remembers better, and wakes up with more energy than many 40-year-olds. No, he's not a retired Navy SEAL. He's not on some exotic supplement plan. Walter credits his vitality to one thing: a simple, consistent morning routine that he's refined over the past 3 decades. If you think aging means slowing down, think again. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on Walter's daily morning habits, the exact steps he takes between waking up and 9 a.m. that fuel his remarkable strength, clarity, and joy. You may find his routine surprisingly ordinary, even boring at first glance, but science, and Walter's vibrant life, suggest otherwise. Let's begin with the very first thing Walter does when he opens his eyes. The first thing Walter does every single day, without fail, is wake up at exactly 5:45 a.m. Not 5:44. Not 5:46. He hasn't used an alarm clock in over a decade. His body just knows. This consistency is not a coincidence. It's a cornerstone of his vitality. According to researchers at Harvard Medical School, waking at the same time every day stabilizes your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep, hormone production, digestion, and even mood. When that rhythm is disrupted, you don't just feel groggy, you age faster on a cellular level. Walter says, "I treat my body like it's got an internal train schedule. If I let it run late one day, it throws off the whole week." He noticed a big change in his 60s, when he stopped staying up late watching TV and committed to waking up at the same time, even on weekends. His energy stabilized. He no longer crashed midday. And most impressively, his blood pressure improved. In fact, the American Heart Association has found that irregular sleep-wake cycles are associated with higher risk of heart disease, obesity, and metabolic disorders. But a regular wake-up time, even more than total hours slept, can counteract many of those risks. So Walter starts his day with the same quiet confidence each morning, waking up naturally with the sun and letting his body operate on rhythm instead of randomness. That's habit number 1. Wake up at the same time every day, no matter what. It's deceptively simple and incredibly powerful. Once Walter rises, he doesn't rush to the kitchen. He doesn't scroll through his phone. He doesn't even own a smartphone. Instead, he sits on the edge of his bed, closes his eyes, and breathes. 5 minutes. That's it. Deep, intentional, rhythmic breathing. This is habit number 2, practicing 5 minutes of deep breathing or meditation. Now, before you dismiss this as too new age or soft, consider what's actually happening in the body. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, also called the rest and digest mode. It lowers cortisol, reduces inflammation, slows the heart rate, and improves blood flow to the brain. Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard coined the term relaxation response decades ago. His research shows that just a few minutes of controlled breathing daily can reduce the risk of hypertension, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. And in a 2022 UCLA study, older adults who meditated for just 10 minutes a day showed improved memory and attention after 8 weeks. Walter's version is simple. He breathes in slowly for 4 counts, holds for 4, and exhales for 6. Sometimes he imagines a calm lake. Other times, he listens to birdsong outside. The goal, he says, is not to think hard. It's to let your body remember that it's safe. This moment of stillness doesn't just clear his mind. It sets the emotional tone for his entire day. He says it keeps him calm even when the world is noisy. And in his 90s, calm is currency. Before caffeine, before conversation, before breakfast, Walter resets his nervous system. And so can you. With his mind clear and calm, Walter moves into the kitchen, and here comes habit number 3. He drinks a glass of warm water with fresh lemon juice and a pinch of turmeric. No coffee yet. No sugar. Just this simple, golden ritual. Why lemon and turmeric? Let's break it down. Lemon provides a dose of vitamin C, which supports immune function and collagen production, important for skin, joints, and blood vessels. It also stimulates bile production, which aids digestion and helps the liver flush out toxins. Turmeric, on the other hand, is a powerhouse anti-inflammatory. Its active compound, curcumin, has been studied by institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the NIH for its potential to reduce inflammation, support joint health, and even slow neurodegeneration. One 2020 meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Pharmacology confirmed that curcumin supplementation can improve symptoms of arthritis and support healthy aging. Walter doesn't take pills. He prefers whole foods and spices. He stirs a quarter teaspoon of ground turmeric into his warm lemon water, sometimes adding a pinch of black pepper to increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%, as suggested by research from Oregon State University. He sips it slowly. No rush. This habit hydrates him after 7 to 8 hours of sleep, jumpstarts his metabolism, and prepares his digestive system for the first meal of the day. Walter swears this little drink keeps his joints looser and his skin clearer. When I skip it, he says, I feel sluggish. Like my body forgot to wake up. And remember, at his age, digestion slows. Liver function slows. But Walter's morning tonic gives him a head start, and science backs him up. With his body now hydrated and his system gently activated, Walter moves into his sunlit living room for the next non-negotiable step in his morning. Habit number 4, 15 minutes of gentle stretching and balance exercises. Walter doesn't do intense workouts. He doesn't lift weights or jog around the block. But every morning, without fail, he performs a sequence of movements he calls his life-saving stretches. He starts with slow neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, and wrist circles. Then he moves into toe touches, hip circles, and a few minutes of leg swings while holding onto the back of a chair. Finally, he closes with a simple yoga-inspired pose, the tree pose, balancing on one foot for 10 seconds at a time. To a casual observer, it might seem minor. But this habit is a critical piece of why Walter can still walk confidently, carry groceries, and get out of the bathtub on his own. According to the CDC, falls are the leading cause of injury among older adults. And a 2021 study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy showed that just 10 to 15 minutes a day of stretching and balance training significantly reduced fall risk and improved mobility in seniors. Walter has taken this to heart. I saw too many friends break hips in their 70s, he says. Balance is like your savings account. You don't notice it until it's gone. He even credits these daily stretches for reducing his joint stiffness and improving circulation, especially in the colder months. And though he's in his 90s, he hasn't needed a cane. The goal isn't to become flexible like a dancer. It's to keep your body functional, resilient, and less prone to accidents that can drastically change your life. 15 minutes. No equipment. Just consistency. After stretching, Walter does something that might surprise you. Something he says has made more difference to his well-being than any supplement or exercise routine. He sits down with a pen and notebook and writes 3 things he's grateful for. Every single morning. This is habit number 5, practicing gratitude intentionally. Some days, his entries are simple: sunlight on the porch, talking to my granddaughter, or still having my own teeth. Other times, he writes deeper reflections: I'm thankful for my slow morning, or grateful I can still walk without pain. This isn't just a feel-good activity. Neuroscience now shows that gratitude reshapes the brain. According to a study by Dr. Robert Emmons at UC Davis, people who kept a daily gratitude journal experienced better sleep, lower blood pressure, and improved immune function. Even more remarkably, scans of the brain revealed increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, focus, and emotion regulation. For older adults, who are statistically more prone to depression and cognitive decline, this habit acts like a protective buffer. Walter describes it as mental calcium, a daily dose that keeps his attitude strong and his mind upright. He began the practice in his 70s, after losing his wife. It was a dark period. But by focusing on what remained instead of what was lost, he says, gratitude gave me a ladder to climb out. Even on hard days, Walter always finds something to write. If you can breathe and think, he says, you can be grateful. This tiny practice rewires how he sees the world. It prevents the slow slide into bitterness that traps many people as they age. And it sets a positive tone for the rest of the day, every single day. Now it's time for breakfast, and Walter never skips it. This is habit number 6, eating a protein-rich breakfast with healthy fats. He doesn't start his day with sugary cereals, white toast, or fruit juice. Instead, he makes what he calls his longevity plate: 2 scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil, half an avocado, a slice of whole grain toast, and sometimes a few berries on the side. This may sound basic, but the nutritional science behind it is rock solid. As we age, maintaining muscle mass becomes harder and more important. After age 60, we lose 1 to 2% of muscle per year, a process known as sarcopenia. But according to the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, older adults who consume at least 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal maintain significantly more lean muscle than those who don't. Walter's breakfast packs in about 30 grams of protein. The healthy fats from olive oil and avocado help him absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, which are vital for brain health, bone density, and immune strength. He also avoids processed meats and sugary breakfast items. "If I wouldn't have fed it to my kids in the 1960s, he says, I won't eat it now." Another key point? He eats slowly and with intention. No screens, no distractions. This allows for better digestion and improves satiety, helping prevent overeating later in the day. Walter says this meal gives him steady energy until lunch, keeps his blood sugar stable, and supports his memory and focus, something he values deeply at his age. Breakfast, he likes to say, is your foundation. Build it solid. With breakfast done and energy flowing, Walter moves into one of the most overlooked and perhaps most powerful parts of his morning. Habit number 7, reading or learning something new for 20 minutes. For Walter, this usually means sitting in his favorite armchair with a library book, sometimes a biography, other times a book on history, science, or even philosophy. He doesn't aim to finish books quickly. Instead, he's more interested in feeding his brain just enough to keep it active, curious, and challenged. And here's the science behind it. Lifelong learning is one of the strongest predictors of cognitive longevity. According to the Alzheimer's Association, mentally stimulating activities, especially reading and learning new concepts, can slow the progression of cognitive decline and enhance memory retention. A 2021 study in the journal Neurology found that older adults who engaged in daily reading or mental exercises retained significantly more gray matter in key parts of the brain, including the hippocampus. Walter isn't a tech guy, but he does occasionally listen to podcasts his grandson downloads onto a small MP3 player. He loves learning new facts, not because he needs them, but because he believes a growing mind is a living mind. He even keeps a "Did you know?" notebook where he writes down one new thing he learned each day. On page 147 he wrote, "Did you know octopuses have 3 hearts?" Then underneath, "My goal is to outlive all of mine." It's this playfulness, this childlike wonder, that keeps Walter's brain sharp. He says that learning gives him a sense of purpose and keeps the world feeling fresh, not distant. At 94, he still sees himself as a student. And that mindset may be one of his greatest secrets of all. By now, Walter's morning is nearly complete. But it's not just the individual habits that matter, it's how they work together that creates what he calls his compound advantage. This is where the magic lies. Each habit by itself, waking up at a set time, breathing deeply, stretching, drinking warm lemon water, eating a smart breakfast, practicing gratitude, reading something new, might seem small. But stack them? Do them daily over years, even decades? That's when you start to see results most people consider impossible for someone in their 90s. This idea of compounding habits is supported by leading behavioral scientists like James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. He writes, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become." Walter, intentionally or not, has voted for vitality every single morning for over 30 years. These habits don't just benefit his body. They give structure to his day, purpose to his mornings, and momentum that carries into everything else: his mood, his interactions, his resilience when life throws curveballs. It's also worth noting, Walter never waits for motivation. Motivation fades, he says. Rituals remain. Even on days he feels tired or sad, he sticks to the routine. That consistency is what keeps his baseline high, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So what's the secret to outperforming people half his age? It's not a secret at all. It's the quiet, repeated decision to honor a routine that nourishes him on every level. He didn't get lucky. He got disciplined, in the gentlest, most sustainable way. And that, perhaps, is Walter's most inspiring legacy, proof that small steps, done daily, build extraordinary lives. So, where does that leave you? If you're watching this and thinking, well, I'm not 94, but I'm not 40 either, that's exactly the point. Walter didn't start this routine in his 20s. He began refining it in his 60s, after noticing his energy waning and his memory slipping just a bit. And now, in his 90s, he's reaping the rewards: steadiness, clarity, independence. His message to others? Start where you are. Don't try to overhaul everything. Just pick one habit and do it well. You don't have to wake up at 5:45 a.m. You don't need to stretch like a yogi or start meditating in the dark. Maybe all you do tomorrow is write down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe you swap out a sugary breakfast for one with real protein. That's enough to begin. Because once you begin, the momentum builds. Think of your morning as the foundation for the rest of your life. What you do between the time you wake up and 9 a.m. sets the tone for your health, your mood, and your longevity. And if Walter can still do this routine, with knees that have seen 9 decades and hands that once fought in a war, you can do it too. We often hear the phrase, "It's never too late." But Walter would argue it's also never too early. No matter where you are on your journey, you have a choice: to stay passive or to act with intention. If Walter's story moved you, share it with someone you love. Maybe your parents, maybe your kids, maybe your future self. Because a long, vibrant life isn't built on one big change. It's built on quiet mornings, on small victories, on routines that respect your body, honor your mind, and give your spirit space to grow. Start tomorrow morning. And who knows? Someday, you might be 94 and still outperforming people half your age.